was a little behind the eight ball and never actually was able to get myself together. I was working on some other projects and just couldn't get myself together to do it. But honestly, I feel like looking at my stuff compared to some of these people, it pales in comparison to the talent that has been brought in there. Kudos to everyone who submitted. I mean, even if you submitted and you aren't accepted, my goodness, the talent that was, there's no shame in that at all. No shame. So bravo on probably one of my favorite series that is done throughout the year in this community. So nice job.
Thank you.
Nice job. So besides the Emerging Artist Series, I know you guys do some other programs and such. What are some of the other programs that take place there?
Sure. So, we have something going on, basically every week, if not multiple programs a week. Mm-hmm. So we'll have
and these are on top of just the amazing exhibits that are
absolutely.
there. I mean, the exhibits are fantastic enough, but then you have these programs inside this beautiful mansion. So Sorry to interrupt, but I just wanted to make sure people realize that this is more than just going to the exhibits.
Oh, absolutely. And in a lot of cases, we try to tie in our programming to exhibits that we have. So, for instance, we're starting a new program in conjunction with our new history exhibit that we opened back in June, which is the Power of Protest exhibit, concerning the history of protest, both nationally and locally within Auburn. So the tie-in program we're planning on doing, actually, that we have set up for the rest of the year, every month we're going to be doing a film series with it. So we'll be showing different documentaries about international protests that have gone all around the world. We're really excited for all of these. Each of them will have an excellent moderator with them. It'll be in our Carriage House Theater in the back of the museum.
Very nice.
So we'll have plenty of space for everybody, and we're really excited about this. It's free admission, so although if you want to chip in a couple of bucks at the door, we'll never say no.
I was going to say, it's always nice to chip in a couple bucks. Museums are always in need for that. I mean, I can't think of a museum that would not actually be in need, especially in a small city. In a small city, it's even more so.
Even the Met goes grubbing.
I was going to say, I mean, come on, they have their gala every year, so that isn't just for fun, that's for sure. So what's the next movie that's coming up in the Carriage House then?
Sure. So we have the Ai Weiwei is Never Sorry. That's Ai Weiwei is a very famous international artist, does some very interesting work, and he's very critical of the Chinese government. So this is going to be a big discussion about his protests, but also the moderator is going to make sure that we tie in the current major protests going on in Hong Kong. Mm-hmm. This is huge. They've been going on for 13 weeks now, so we're really excited to have these discussions. And we'll be all over the place with all the different, really interesting international protests that have just been going on all over history and over the world.
All right. Well, it sounds like it'll be a really interesting series that you're presenting.
On top of that programming, we do yoga in the galleries on the second Wednesdays of every month.
Now yoga in the gallery, Victoria Fitzgerald was leading those, and she was actually one of the emergent artists. Oh my goodness, I have to give her a shout out. Love her work. Wanted her on the show and still working on that. But, life is preoccupying her. I don't know how anything's more important than the show, but she might disagree with me. So, but yeah, her work is amazing. And I know that she was doing the yoga, and hopefully, is that continuing still?
Yes. In fact, we have one this upcoming Wednesday.
Which is tomorrow.
I forgot what day it was. So next week.
Next week. So if you need to get out and do some yoga in a beautiful, beautiful setting, surrounded by amazing artwork, take a chance and go out there and do it.
Now, this week we do have our traveling museum over World War II, which is a very interesting, unique program that's been going around. It's led by the 17-year-old kid who's been collecting all this World War II memorabilia, been doing oral history projects. He's going to come in, and people are invited to come in to the Carriage House Theater again and really just interact with this amazing history. It's the 50th anniversary for.
And when was that again?
So this is going to be this Thursday.
This Thursday. All right.
So come on in, and it's free admission for that as well. So.
All right. But definitely bring a couple bucks and donate so they can keep these programs going. So I'll shamelessly plug that for you. Don't worry. So, well, that's exciting. Next couple of weeks sound really busy, and definitely keep an eye out at their, follow them on Facebook and whatever, and keep an eye out about new projects and new exhibits and new artists that are coming up. I highly, highly suggest people go out and take a look at it and see just everything that they have going on. With that, you have been awarded the part of the DRI. Mm-hmm. So congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Now, if I remember correctly, you're partnering with Schweinfurt,
yes.
Correct? Okay. So can you give us a little bit of idea of what's going on there, how the partnership is going to work, and what we can expect over the next couple of years?
Sure. So I'd say that the word that really needs to stick in people's head with regards to this project is accessibility. We recognize that the space between our two institutions just really is not particularly accessible to people, both physically. It's not particularly inviting as a space in a lot of ways. The way that our parking is in the back there, it necessarily doesn't make people feel super welcome to either of our institutions, frankly. So a big part of this is, by physically conjoining our spaces, this is going to be about also making us more collaborative as two institutions. So what the DRI is really funding is what we're calling the West End Campus. We're really trying to take our two institutions and become a center of a new cultural revival on the West End of Auburn.
Very cool.
And so by physically upgrading our spaces, new sidewalks, from the Cayuga Museum side of things, we're going to be upgrading our entrances, making that more accessible from the parking lot side, more upgrades to the parking itself, making more spots, more paving of the space. And then by combining with the Schweinfurt, having a more unified campus there, there'll be a little more natural of a flow between our two institutions, which will then also allow us to do more joint programming between the two, which we will be looking to do the Central New York Emerging Artists Project between our two institutions.
Very cool. Very cool. Wow. Yeah. That's really cool. So when you say campus, I always wonder, will there be some green space that is going to go along with that will be able to be utilized for speakers or it might be cool if you can find period people who are performing period pieces as far as music is concerned, or something like that. Is that anything that's in the works, or am I just saying something that you're like, don't talk that, we can't do that?
So fortunately for the Cayuga Museum, we do actually have a sizable green space area that on our site. So part of the upgrades with this facility in getting people to move around the space more easily is that they'll have more access to that space. And I would love to see us doing some more with outdoors. I mean, we're in upstate New York, so we're always a little bit limited on that. But
no, we're from upstate New York. We're used to it. There's no limitation. We just wear a little, we add a layer and we go out. We're good. It's fine. As long as frostbite won't set in within a couple minutes, we should be okay. Well, that's actually really exciting. I'm glad to hear that. I think that it's always a valuable thing, especially like you said, being in upstate New York. We got to take advantage of the nice weather.
Yeah.
And I think that adding green space is always a benefit. Now, I would imagine at Cayuga Museum, just with some of the exhibits that are there and such, and being that it is older building without the amenities that we're used to now, is there anything going on for climate control to keep everything fresh and in good condition, and just to make it a more comfortable experience for guests who visit?
Sure. Well, currently what we're doing is we're doing a lot of analysis on the building itself to see, feasibility studies to see whether we can really upgrade the facilities, especially to make it more energy efficient.
Mm-hmm.
We fully recognize also that through those 2 months of the year where it is ungodly hot outside, we're an unair conditioned museum. Although our carriage house is very comfortably air conditioned, and we open a door, and for the most part, you get a nice breeze going through. But we recognize there's a couple weeks of the year where it's just, it's a stuffy old mansion.
Yes, it is.
Although it is a wonderfully progressive museum within a stuffy old mansion, so, with beautiful inside. So.
Oh, absolutely. Some absolutely beautiful woodwork in there. Some of the stained glass windows, just the whole era of that time being so ornate. It's worth the unbearable couple weeks for sure.
But through the rest of the year, it's perfectly comfortable in there, and it's a beautiful space. But yes, to answer the actual question you asked, we are definitely looking into making sure that facility is going to be more energy efficient. And we're opening, part of the DRI is opening up different capital projects for the future as well.
Okay.
With that having been completed, we will then also be looking into additional upgrades. For instance, for the laboratory, getting it to be a more operable facility with some interesting upgrades.
And that's the neat thing about the DRI is this money comes in, and so there's always the next project that can happen. So this allows for these projects to happen. With that success will become the ability to do the next level of projects, which so even if it's something that you're looking into now that may not be 3 years down the road, that might be the start of it because you were able to take care of some of the other issues that you needed to with that DRI. So it's definitely more than just the immediate that something like this can affect a business like this. Definitely. So that's very cool. Geez, I feel like I've been saying cool a lot today for some reason. I swear every episode there's one word that kind of sticks out, and I keep repeating it over and over. And that's the word of the day. So feel free to comment the word of the day in the post just to see if you're listening or not. Now, if someone wants to volunteer or help out in the museum, is there opportunities at the museum?
Sure, we have open volunteer positions at the museum. For the most part, what we really have volunteers doing is helping us out with the front line of things. So really sitting at the front desk, greeting people, but then also in leading the tours of the laboratory itself, getting people really engaged with the institution and what we're doing as a space. And then we always use our volunteers at different events that we're holding. For instance, we had our first summer camp as a partnership back in July with a partnership with the Seward House and with the Harriet Tubman House, and we got, for our portion of it, we got kids to make films about their experience.
Oh, neat!
And so a big part of it, of the reason why we were able to even do that, is because of our volunteers, and we're very excited to see more of that, to see that program really grow. So if you are interested at all in working with a dynamic organization that's really looking to support the community, that's us.
All right. So if you're looking for that volunteer opportunity, is there an age limit? Is there a certain age that you have to be, or there's something that anybody can do? Well, within region. I mean, I don't think a newborn's going to help you out too much, but maybe bring you some joy with the giggles, but that might be about it.
Sure. I mean, of course, if you are an enthusiastic person, have some interest in history, maybe even just interested in the building itself.
Right.
We would love to work with you and talk with you about
Nice.
about
Well,
this issue.
maybe next year, along with the camp and doing video about that, we could have someone come on and help teach about podcasts and how to do that. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if you know anyone, but that's always a possibility that something like that could happen.
Scratching my brain. Right
Yeah. So, again, I'm not afraid of the self-promotion. So, no, I think it's just something fun, and I think kids would enjoy learning about it and seeing what actually it takes to do it. Because although it's a lot of more of a watered down of what happens at a radio station, in reality,